All right, you riff-ravaged road dogs and amp-worshipping arsonists, strike that match and crank the Marshall stack to volcanic, because tonight we're fanning the flames of hard rock's hottest origin myth, the wild, wacky history of Deep Purple's Smoke on the Water. You know this beast. That chugging riff that ignites every air guitar bonfire from barbecues to Black Sabbath openers, rumbling like thunder over Lake Geneva as Ian Gillan wails, "We all came out to Montreux on the Lake Geneva shoreline." It's the track that turned every garage jam into a pyromaniac's playground and every karaoke night into a banshee summoning. Everyone, and I mean every scorched soul, knows this scorcher, even if they hum it casually while pretending it's just that one about the fire and the funky Claude. It's the song that scorched your first cassette tape, the earworm that got headbanged at your uncle's retirement luau or riot, and the reason your neighbor still practices it at 3 a.m., like he's auditioning for the apocalypse. But here's the hook, you flame-broiled freaks. Beneath those smoldering verses about some stupid with a flare gun lurks a legend hotter than a Swiss fondue meltdown. From a flare gun fiasco at a Frank Zappa gig that torched a casino to a riff born in the ashes of exile, this track's origin is wilder than Richie Blackmore chucking a TV out a chalet window. And trust me, by the end you'll never chug that intro without cackling at Gillan's Gong goof, like Deadpool deep-throating a harmonica in a haze of hash. Stick around, we're stoking the pyre, lick by lava-laced lick. Let's all come out to Montreux. Picture this. It's the crisp December dawn of 1971, and Deep Purple, those British bruisers of blues metal mayhem, are rolling into Montreux, Switzerland, like a convoy of chrome-plated Cadillacs, hauling the Rolling Stones' mobile studio to capture their 6th album, Machine Head. The air's crisp as a fresh pick, the lake's a mirror of alpine arrogance, and the band's buzzing. Richie Blackmore, the Thunder God Axeman with a Strat slung like Excalibur. Ian Gillan, the vocal volcano ready to erupt. John Lord on keys like a mad organist in a cathedral of chaos. Roger Glover on bass, steady as a heartbeat in hell. And Ian Paicey, drumming like he's pounding out the devil's Morse code. They've booked the Montreux Casino for a live warm-up gig with Frank Zappa and the Mothers of Invention. Prog weirdos meets purple pros. What could go wrong? Cue December 4th. The casino's packed tighter than a roadie's tour bus. Zappa's mid-motherlode madness, when some Swiss simpleton in the cheap seats, fueled by fumes or foolhardiness, fires a flare gun toward the stage. It arcs like a bottle rocket from hell, strikes a rattan ceiling and poof, the whole joint's an inferno, flames licking the lacquer off vintage amps as 2,300 fans flee in a funk of smoke and scream. Deep Purple watches from across the lake, Bellinis turning to bitters in the Pavillon bar, the sky a watercolor of orange and outrage, funky Claude Nobs, the Montreux Jazz Festival founder, playing hero with a rowboat, ferrying folks to safety like a Viking Valhalla valet. The casino's gutted, the Mobile studios scorched, a stray ember singed its innards, and the band's homeless hunkered in the empty Grand Hotel like refugees from a rock and roll Ragnarok. Exile breeds epiphany, holed up in the hotel's corridors, walls paper thin, neighbors cranky as cats in a colander. They resurrect the sessions. Blackmore, fury forged, grabs his guitar in the dead of night and births the riff. That relentless da-da-da-da-dun-dun-dun chug, simple as sin, heavy as hammers, inspired by the fire's fury. A revenge on the flames, he later snarls. Gillan grabs a notepad, scribbles lyrics in the lamplight. We ended up at the Grand Hotel. It was empty, cold, and bare. A travelogue of tragedy, name-dropping funky Claude for Nobs' nautical nobility and slipping in a sly Gong nod to the prog outfit whose tape Gillan was blasting when the blaze broke out. Pace lays down the beat on a makeshift kit, borrowed from a local jazz cat. Lord tickles ivories for that funky undercurrent. Glover anchors it all like a baseline life raft. By dawn it's etched, a 6-minute saga of survival, turning catastrophe into catharsis. But here's the funny bit, because nothing Purple stays unpunned. Imagine Blackmore mid-riff, glaring at the smouldering skyline. This chugs my middle finger to the fire. If it had been a puddle, it'd be Splash on the Puddle, a watery acoustic apology tour. Self-roasting aside, if I were Gillan in that corridor, I'd have bailed after the first "some stupid with a flare gun" line, howling, "Ian, this opener's dumber than a drunk with a lighter. Who invited the arsonist's autobiography to the album?" Absurd what-if fever dream. Picture if Zappa's mothers had doused the flames with a kazoo solo. Smoke on the kazoo, a wind-powered waltz where Richie fingerpicks folk tunes about faulty fireworks. Genius from the gutter, right? But wait, how does this hotel hallway hymn hammer into vinyl Valhalla? Spoiler, it involves a delayed Stones truck, Paicey's percussive panic fix, and a single that simmers slow before scorching the charts. Hang tight, headbangers. By mid-December, the Purple posse's patched the mobile studio, zapped but zesty, and parks it outside the Grand Hotel like a battered Winnebago at Woodstock's wake. The sessions are a sauna of sweat and smoke. Blackmore's amps cranked to cataclysm, Gillan's lungs launching like Scud missiles, Lord's Hammond howling heresy. But shenanigans strike. The truck's delayed by repairs. That fire singe was no joke. So they improvise. Pace sets up drums in a corridor to muffle the mayhem for sleeping Swiss, pounding away like a poltergeist in pajamas, while the rest cram into a stairwell for smoke, capturing the riff's raw rumble in one feverish take. Lord's clavinet funk sneaks in like a smuggled saxophone. Glover's bass bubbles under like lake-bottom lava, and Gillan overlays vocals in a vocal booth that's basically a broom closet. The whole machine head beast raps by New Year's, a 10-track titan clocking 39 minutes of Purple prose, raw, relentless, the blueprint for metal's Machine Gun March. Dropped March 25, 1972 on EMI's Harvest label, it storms charts like a blitzkrieg. #1 in the UK for 8 weeks. #7 US and 6 million copies worldwide by 73. Smoke lurks as the B-side to Never Before in May 72, but DJs flip it. That riff's a radio ratchet, grinding to #4 US 2 UK by 73, the band's biggest US smash. Shenanigans peak with the cover. That iconic photo of the casino blaze, snapped by a fan from the bar, slapped on without permission. Montreux sues, but settles for credits and a plaque. Gillan's Gong lyric? Meant as a prog shout-out, but fans mishear song, sparking endless what the funk forums. The video? A bootleg live clip from 72 Osaka, Purple pounding it like pyromaniacs at a petrol pump. Humor alert. Deep Purple's Exile edition recording. It's rock's version of I'm Too Cool for the Studio, squatting in a hotel like squatters with a Stones truck, while prog snobs like Yes Noodle in ivory towers. Satirical swipe. Picture the label execs in London, fogged on tea and terror, screeching, "Richie, less fire, more finesse, this riff's rougher than a bad shave," while Pace drums in the hall. "Pass the aspirin. Neighbours think it's a polka plague." Self-roasting pun. If I were Lord in that stairwell, I'd have quit after the first clavinet clunk, muttering, "This funk's so corridor cramped it's clav on the clav. Who invited the keytar tantrum?" Shenanigans seal when it sneaks into every sports arena uninvited, proving riffs are the real MVPs. Cliffhanger. But chart conquests are double-edged distortion. Next up, the myths multiply like bad embers, from Gong Goofs to cover infernos. The early 70s haze thickens, and smoke smolders to immortality. Rolling Stones number 434 greatest song ever in 2021, Q's number 12 classic, VH1's number 19 metal anthem. It's the headbanger's hymn, thundered at 1,500 plus gigs by Purple, often extended to 8 minutes of crowd pyres where Blackmore bends strings like he's wrestling Lucifer. But here's where the sparks fly. Enter the controversies, you lava-lunged lunatics. First, the lyric labyrinth, Gillan's Gong slip, a cheeky nod to the space rock outfit whose tape was spinning when the flare flew. gets mangled as song in bootlegs. Birthing fan theories it's a Zappa diss or casino curse code. Gillan chuckles in 90s chats. Nah, just a prog prank. Blame the bootleggers, not the blaze. No backmasking bunk here, that's Zepp territory. But the flare gun fool? An anonymous audience ape, never ID'd, though whispers point to a Zappa zealot high on hash and hubris. Claude Nobs. Hero eternal, his boat rescue immortalized in the line Funky Claude was running in and out, earning him a lifetime purple pass and a plaque by the lake. Culture conflagration. Covers cascade like casino confetti. Iron Maiden shreds it on 1988's The Evil That Men Do. B-side. A metal mirror that peaks UK number 40. Kid choirs croon its saccharine for school assemblies. Even the 1999 California Raisins ad raisins it funky, hitting number 9 on Billboard's dance chart like a dried fruit disco bomb. Arena status? It's the sports staple, blasting at NFL kickoffs and NBA intros, headbanging's global gospel. Studies credit it with spiking air guitar sales 300% post-72. Mock skit adopts Blackmore snarl. Fire marshals at the door. Richie, no pyros. I crank the riff louder. Spontaneous combustion. That's just my encore, mate. Pass the lighter fluid. Absurd aside, imagine the lyrics as a safety manual. Dip it in the water? Nah, dip your career in dynamite. Confucius say, flare guns for flair, not fear. Culture quake. It's the Odyssey for axe wielders, a fiery fable that forged metal's molten mold. Next, does it extinguish or just fan the funeral pyre? Fast forward through the flares. Smoke isn't legacy. It's the RIAA's 4X Platinum Phoenix machine head at 20 million worldwide, Rock Hall's Songs That Shaped Rock Van 97 pick. Purple's Phoenix from the Fire, it funds the fractures. Blackmore bolts in 75 for Rainbow, sparking Mc2 vs Mc8 wars that simmer to 2023's One Last Time tour teases. Pop culture? It scorches to Family Guy fever fits, memes as that riff that ruins your ringtone, even scientific nods. Twist Bioscience encoded it in DNA in 2017, the first rock gene sequence. The phrase? Ubiquitous tattoos of the chug tab, t-shirts at tailgates, TED rants on creative combustion. But the weirdness wildfires on. Reunion rifts reopen like old burns. Gillan gripes in 2022, docs it's the curse of the casino, loving the law but loathing the one-trick pony tag that overshadows in-rock. Mimi riffs explode that drum cover. Guy's 2013 viral vid racks 100 million views, a kid thrashing it on pots and pans like a pint-sized pace. TikTok duets where boomers air riff with Gen Z glitches. Cover carnage? Pat Boone's 1997 big band Bowdlerization flops hilariously, peaking number 32 UK, but roasted as smoke on the sax, past the fire extinguisher. The 2005 California Guitar Trio acoustic take floats number 1 on New Age charts, proving even yogis headbang.
Witty take.
If smoke was a roommate, it'd trash the place with pyrotechnics at 2 a.m., then riff its way out of rent with Funky Claude was my alibi, hand over the deposit. Absurd hypo. Purple TikTok time warp. Blackmore. Dip it in the filter, bring your flares. It's fun to burn and to pretend. Lord. Pass the Hammond app. More growl, less glow up. Influence? It codified the riff as rock's Rosetta Stone, birthing metal's machine gun march from Sabbath to Slayer, teaching air drummers to chug in church basements. Okay, maybe not wholly approved. Proving hard rock could be history lesson and head rush. Lesser known, that corridor drum take? Paicey's panic fix after hotel complaints muffled with pillows like a prohibition speakeasy. Eternal ember. It still scorches newbies, Blackmore sneers, like a first bonfire you can't unroast. From Montreux embers to global glow, it's purple's pyre, respectful roar with a reservation for recklessness. Ooh, what a blaze. From flare gun folly to riff resurrection, smoke on the water proves rock's raw straws are the scorched ones. If this fanned your flames, smash like if you're Team Richie, subscribe for more hard rock holocausts, and fan in comments, what's your smoke scorch? The riff that raised your speakers? The lyric that lit your lunchroom lore? Hit that bell, we've got more purple pyres brewing. And if that fade-out still smolders in your soul, just blame the eternal ember of excess. Rock eternal rebels, keep the smoke rising.